Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on Irene Gleeson and through this lady that moved from Australia to northern Uganda. And now the Irene Gleeson Foundation feeds, educates and provides health for 6,000 children a day. Pretty amazing story, that one. Irene Gleeson received the Order of Australia, which is pretty amazing. And we also looked at Exodus, who was a guy that grew up in that compound and found a bit of a music career. So I trust you found that one encouraging and a very inspirational story, that one. Well, we're going from there to a bunch of guys that were formed in 1981 in Sydney. Some of the names: Jason O'Donnell on bass, Stephen Layton on keyboards, Tom Harron on lead vocals, Neville Dowling also on keyboards. So there's Andrew Wong Jen on guitar, and there was also Stephen Manasseh also on bass, and Steve Hopes on drums. And these guys have gone on to do some pretty amazing things with people such as John Anderson from Yes and a few other things like that. So very, really well regarded industry. And these bunch of guys got together and made their mark on Australia, and certainly these guys individually have made their mark in the world as well. Now, the guys we're talking about are The Expression. Now, when I first heard their CD from 1983, self-titled The Expression, there was just something about it that got to me. We're talking about very much synth pop genre here. So early 1980s, the synthesizer was a big, massive part of the world and a pretty major big sound of music at that point. The thing I love about The Expression, though, is particularly in Total Eclipse, where we get on to in a minute, there's some really beautiful guitar work going on in there. And so there's just a all-rounded kind of thing going on. But very much, new wave, bands such as Duran Duran ushered that stuff in, and so these guys were very much in that genre. So 1983 out came the album The Expression. Then 1985 out came the album Conscience. So there was a couple of albums there when they were at their peak. And in 2007 out came this album Rare and Unreleased. So that was the songs that they kind of did and didn't actually get bound to, but then they ended up putting them in an album. And so, 3 albums or so in their career. As I said, I have very fond memories of their first album. It's an album that I'll play quite often because there was just some really, really captivating song production in this album. And probably where I first met The Expression was through the song Total Eclipse. Now you might be thinking, wasn't there a song by Bonnie Tyler around 1985, 86, something around? Well, yes, it was, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And of course, that was written by Jim Steinman. But Total Eclipse, not of the heart, just Total Eclipse. One of the lines is, why is there a total eclipse? Because you turned out the light. So what we've got here is pretty much a breakup, and it sounds like this guy is on the receiving end of it as opposed to the one providing it. And so we have this in the clip. We've got the classic, solemn looks and retrospectiveness and reflection and all the rest of it on the beach, which is just sometimes the best place to do this sort of thing. And he's thinking about all the memories. There's actually a picture of 2 of them on the seashore by the coast having a holiday, and there's all the stuff that they did while they were there. And so very much he's reflecting back on what was but is no longer. And his deduction from that is total eclipse of the heart. The sun is completely out here and the moon is completely taken it over, but there's no moonlight either, nor are there any stars. It's just blackness. So that's kind of where we're going with this one. And the way this song is, it just provides some beautiful space, I suppose musical landscape for these words to come out really, really well. And there's also something quite good about Tom's vocals as well. It just really captures the song so well, backed by a pretty bunch of amazing guys. So I've got a question here about Total Eclipse though. Sure, at times life can be pretty dark and pretty sad, and you don't really know, what's going to happen next. In fact, you look up and you just don't see any hope at all. This is where this song is very much coming from. But I've talked about this a little bit before. Now, if we've got an event that has happened, it's really, really sad and we're really, really struggling with it, that's one part of life that goes on. The other part of life is very much having us to keep going somehow, to keep moving on and to keep living our life. Now, we may not actually know how we do that, but we eat potentially, and we may go out a little bit and go for a walk, and whatever it is that we do. We have to go to the shop to buy things like milk and bread and that sort of thing. When we're in the midst of these total eclipse moments, and it's absolutely almost past the point of no return, we still do these things to keep our lives going. So it was Hank and Shoot and dual process approach back in the 1980s that talked about the fact that these two things happen at the same time. We're feeling the loss, but we're also living our life continuing. I don't like using the word moving on or getting over. This is very much living with and realizing it's always going to be a part of your life and that sort of stuff. So my question about total eclipse, and Bonnie Tyler's song too, when I did hers, I talked about the fact that in every clip, every shot on that iconic clip of hers, there was light in it. And I would argue the same thing here. Even though it's really, really dark, there is light. Now, it might be just a glimmer. It might be hardly there at all. But that is the thing that is just keeping you doing even the minimum stuff. Because you're thinking, well, if I don't do something, it's not going to be good. So I need to do something to actually be able to keep going. So I don't think it's ever total eclipse. I think it might be more partial or nearly total, or it's more eclipse than not. But there's just a slither of light in there. That's the thing that keeps us living our lives. And probably what will happen is that over time that light will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, the eclipse will never completely go. I think this is the thing about life. We have life experiences and we think, oh, I just want to go over that thing. Well, you try to forget about it. And then what happens down the track is some little thing comes up and think, oh, that's right, there was that thing, wasn't there? You're almost pushing it down, hoping it will stay down there, but it just pops up when you least expect it. And so the best thing we can do, I think, is to reconcile the fact that that thing's always going to be part of our lives, but to live with it and to move on with it. You can imagine it almost like, you put the eclipse thing in a suitcase and you close the lid and you carry that suitcase with you. But because you've reconciled the fact that it's always going to be there, it's a bit lighter to carry. So if you're in this situation right now where, it's pretty dark and pretty hard and pretty everything, or the rest of it, look for the light. It's going to be there somewhere. Even if you have to physically get a candle and light it and look at it, there's light that you can see. And that might actually resonate with something inside you. And find someone to walk the journey with. There's nothing worse than doing this thing on your own, feeling, almost thinking like you're not worthy of having someone do this with you. If you had someone make an offer to you like, oh, look, if you need anything, give me a call them. Because, it's in those moments that true resonance and connection can happen between two people, and that's what you need more than ever at the moment. So trust you'll find that encouraging. Well, on to the clips. Now, both of these songs came from the Expression album from 1983. Again, an album I kind of have very fond memories of. So we've got Total Eclipse. It's not of the heart, just Total Eclipse. So it's not like the Bonnie Tyler song previously. This is completely different. And again, there's the iconic line, you turned out the light, Total Eclipse of the heart. So here we have the official clip. It tells the story so well. Another favourite song of mine is With Closed Eyes. This also came off the Expression album from 1983. And one of the lines is pretty good. How can we know what is going on if our eyes are closed to the sun? Such a good line, that one. Really what it's saying, I'm thinking is I think about myself here, and that is, what am I closing to, or my eyes to, and pretending is not there, when in fact it is. I mean, if you want a bit of an understanding of where the world currently is, subscribe to United Nations emails. This, the humanitarian arm, would be enough. And you can see that there is a lot of stuff going on in the world at the moment. And it's always good, I believe, to not have closed eyes. We need to have them open to what is going on, so that if we can make a difference, we can. If we don't actually know about something, we can't make a difference. And so, yeah, that's a really good song, that one as well. Bit of a, I think, a bit of a protest song, a bit of political statement kind of song. This is a good thing about the expression. They were very good songwriters, very thought-provoking lyrics, and this one's no exception. A little bit more upbeat for the expression. That's why I quite like this one. And so we've got the official clip on that one. So the links to both of those songs are in the description below, and I've also included my last video to Irene Gleeson and Exodus. So if you want to recap on them, feel free. Well, it was only recently that we heard that Meatloaf recently died, about the age of 74. And you know, as he was a legend, probably one of the voices, pretty much, certainly when he was in his heyday. Legends live on. Now, I didn't quickly get a video up straight after his death. I think we can give it a little bit more space and time, because we can actually reflect on people's lives and so. But we will be going to him next time. Now, I have rounded out the E's today in this series, and I just realised there's a couple of A's and B's that I need to go back and do, because I've just remembered them. So we're going to sort of, before we get on to the F's, we're going to just do a few videos just to do those ones. And of course, you know, if there is a request, you know, it might get delayed a little bit longer. If you're thinking, F, now who do I know in F? Oh yeah, what about, yeah, I'll leave that one totally up to you. I can think of some pretty big bands in F as well. So, but that's all coming up in the next little while. So if you've come back for another one, or if this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, welcome to everybody. So good to see you here. Thank you for the engagement and for hanging around. So that's it for today. So next time, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.